right, Miss Laney, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you. For those that don't know, this is Miss Laney Stewart. I knew you with a different last name back in the day.
Yes.
And today we are going to talk about transaction coordination. I don't know if that's the right word or not. But at least that's in my head kind of what the industry knows it to be, but you're so much more than that. And so what we're going to talk today about is why real estate agents, real estate professionals need you in their life. And how do you make their life better? What do you do? And how are you different than the norm? So for those that don't know, a real estate professional may have a transaction coordinator. And again, I think you're so much more than that, but we're going to put that title out there. And that would be the person in the back office kind of coordinating and doing things. You, Ms. Laney, I know we've known each other for 10 plus years. I've stopped counting at this point, so it's been a long, long time. So before we get into that, why don't we talk a little bit about your background? So give me, 60 seconds or less, hit the bullet points of a resume. Who are you? What do you do and what makes you so special? And I know why I love you, but let's get the other people to know the same. So Ms. Laney.
I started in real estate in 2013 and started working with an agent on a small team and worked with that agent for 2 to 3 years. Then I left and went to a company called Curator, which was a digital marketing firm, or is a digital marketing firm. Worked there for 5 to 6 years and got lots and lots of knowledge on CRMs, working your database, marketing, any kind of really just touches. I learned a lot about lots of different agents, communication, and just really staying on track and things like that with Curator, and then came back to work with an agent, the agent that I started with, and now I'm currently with him. And I also started my own business doing exactly what I loved. So throughout this whole entire navigation of figuring out a career, I decided that my love, my true love, is just keeping everything together, making sure that all of the pieces fit, and working a transaction from beginning to end, whether that be the listing part of it or contract to close. It's just what I love to do. So I love making sure that everyone stays on track and keeping everything kind of in the line that it should be.
I will tell you, you are one of those. So as a mortgage professional, we obviously, do a lot of business with a lot of different people and a lot of different agents, both the selling side and the listing side. And those wheels do get the grease. And one of those, and there aren't many Laneys out there in terms of the quality of the person and the professional. And when you get someone like yourself on the other side of a transaction, I can assure you, the mortgage people know it, we feel it, and we will make sure we get our job done just a little better than normal. We don't do a good job otherwise, but it's one of those that we know that if we don't, you're going to be just hounding us. Right? What's going on? What's here? What's that? So I will tell you, I'm up to the challenge, but that first time you recognize when you and I met and you're on the other side of this, it's like, oh, this person's got their stuff together. And so that makes me elevate my game and just make sure we're just that much better. And again, it's not that we have to do anything different. It just means we communicate a little more. Right? Now, the difference is you, on the other side, work with a lot of mortgage professionals, and not all of them are the mortgage marks of the world. And therefore, they need to probably step up their game a lot. And that's what you, I think, helps. So what do you think your biggest value, like what's your commercial now? So in other words, if Realtor Joe is out there watching this, or if I'm going to introduce you to somebody, what's the big elevator pitch that says, here's what I do, and here's why you need to want me in your life?
Really, everything that an agent needs to concentrate on, given they need to concentrate on networking, they need to concentrate on building their pipeline, they need to concentrate on really getting deals so that I can work the deals. I literally do everything from relieving them from their stress, allowing them to go to their sporting events with their children, allowing them to have dinner with their families, all of that kind of stuff. They can fully trust that I will take care of all of the things that they need so that they can live their lives and they can do what they love to do, which generally we all know real estate agents, and they love to network and they love to build relationships and things like that. And I love to sit behind my computer and make sure that all of the things that they love to do, they can do so that I can do what I love.
And that's what's interesting about both our industries. So for when you first start your job, you had the mortgage for real estate And, you're expected to be both like this, two-headed monster. You're expected to be this network salesperson, get out there and go meet and greet and shake hands and kiss babies. And then all of a sudden, when the work happens, you get a lot, or you get a contract on the realtor side. All of a sudden, you're expected to become this like, super admin wizard, cross the T's, dot the I's, super organized person. A lot of times, in most cases, those two things don't coexist. And even if you have a personality that says, man, my natural tendency, and I'll speak for myself, my natural tendency is to be that social front end, salesperson. Can I do the back end? Yeah. Does it come natural? No. Do I like it? Absolutely not.
Right.
I think that's where you really compliment somebody. And so right before we got on, we literally did all of like 30 seconds of pleasantries before we pushed record. I asked something and you were about to say something. I cut you off, and I think this is the appropriate time to bring it back up. You said something about how, like, whatever it is with your day, you said something about train agents to work with you. So in other words,
Yes.
a typical transaction coordinator, somebody that handles all the back end stuff. What do you mean by train somebody who works with you? What does that mean?
A lot of agents are control freaks, and a lot of agents have a really difficult time trusting someone else to do their business for them, because they do like to kind of hold on to it and manage it all on their own. What I like to do is the first 3 months that I work with a client, I like to really dive into their personality, what makes them tick, how we can better communicate with each other. And that's kind of like a trial period, honestly, because I mean, let's face it, everyone doesn't mesh with everyone. And during that first 3 months, if we determine that we're not the best fit for each other, or there are things that, we just don't align with, then I think that that's just, you can't untrain someone to be a fit for you. And I think it's really, really important to make sure that I'm a good fit for them and they're a good fit for me, so that we can do the best that we can together.
Yeah, I think there's two or three sub pieces of that are true and not true. So in other words, I agree with you 100% in what you said. The part that I might just throw the little asterisk next to, some people, again, the trust, in my opinion, for the majority, we'll say 80%, right? There's still that those 20% that just never change, never trust, they are who they are. I find that in most cases, the folks that have trouble, quote unquote, trusting, it's trust is little promises kept over time, right? That's an old school definition that says, okay, little promises kept over time. That's what builds the trust. It takes years to make, seconds to break, whatever thing you want to do. At the end of the day, to your point about training them, they need, once you guys work together, 1, 2, 3, 4 transactions, I have to imagine, and I see your head shaking, that you kind of agree know where I'm going with this. The more that you show that you actually do what you say you're going to do, right? I suspect over time they'll trust you, because my part from the loan officer side is like, a new loan officer is like, I can't trust anybody. Hey man, if you gave me the file, would you trust me to do it? I would. Cool. So it's not that you have a trust issue, you just have a systems or a process issue, right?
Yeah.
Your team's not doing it the same way every time to get the expected results consistently. So I absolutely know that's true, and I understand that's just the dating period. What does it look like? So Realtor Joe comes along. Let's say I know Realtor Joe, and I know that he's struggling. He's wonderful. He's great. He's just at the point of trying to make that next level jump, right? He's doing a couple transactions a month, closings. He's doing great, but man, he doesn't have a family life. He's working on vacation. He's doing all that stuff. He finally succumbs and says, okay, I will talk to Laney, and I will talk to somebody who can help my life and do that. What do they need to know? Like coming in and having that first conversation, what do they need to know outside of just, hey, give me the contract and go away? What's the best way to at least mentally prep, or even just physically? Like, what do they need to have ready? What do they need to do? What's that onboarding process look like to make sure they are in fact ready to work with you?
I think I would say the ideal person for this would be someone like you mentioned, someone that has kind of hit their ceiling, and they're looking to move into that next stratosphere. They're looking to take their business to another level, and they just need to kind of trust in the process and step away and allow themselves prospecting time, negotiation time, and things like that. So I feel like I got off track.
So, and I agree with you. And by the way, there is the other side of the coin where somebody might say, well, gosh, I'm doing 2, 3 closings a month, and I'm a parent, or I'm just somebody who wants to enjoy life. I'm just tired of working this hard. Those people can also be a good fit, I imagine, for you that says,
Sure.
hey, take more time and give me more free time.
Yes.
I suspect you and I both, and no knock to that scenario I just painted. Where you and I really shine is with those folks that are gung ho, that want to do more. Because at the end of the day, I don't mind, I love helping people. What I don't want to do is help them be lazy or enable them to not do their jobs.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yes.
if you're paying Laney, she's having to take the paycheck. But the reality is the partnership is better if and when you're both aligned to say, man, let's go conquer the world together. So if
Right.
I suspect, what is it like an hour? Like you and I get together. Today's our first time to meet. 30-minute conversation, get to know each other. Hour, is that kind of what it is?
Yeah, I usually like to talk for 30 minutes and kind of get to know what their goals are, what their visions are, just to see if we align. Like I said, not everyone does, but most people do need someone like me. Most people do need that extra just layer of protection. I do ensure that all of your deadlines are met, everything's on your calendar. You can really just let me do my job, allow me to do my job, and just alleviate that whole part of your brain, that whole space of your brain that you use to take up the data, the mundane tasks, the checklists, the things like that. Just
How do
completely
you?
let go.
I'm the nervous Millie. I'm Joe Realtor. It's our first transaction. I turn the contract in. What can I expect from a service level standpoint? Are you updating me daily with emails? Are you calling me every once a week? Are you having a meeting? Like what's that? And I understand it can be different, right? So
It is.
that to personality, but in general, you have to do something to help build the trust, to know that you're doing your job. What's that look like for you typically? Again, I understand there can be variations and everybody can customize their
Sure.
relationship with you, but what's kind of the overall, what's the norm?
Sure. Overall is I always copy the agents on every email that I send. They always have full transparency on every single thing that I'm doing. Anything that it are critical dates, any like important reminders, anything like this, I do send calendar reminders for. And when I've completed my task, I mark the task as complete. And then, if you were my client, Mark would then know that, HOA resale certificate has been received. That all of these critical dates are being met so that you can just kind of sit back and see like all of this is happening, all of this is still continuing to happen, deadlines are being met, but you no longer have to worry about it. You can just kind of sit there and see it happening, which that helps with the trust thing, just the full transparency, knowing that it's all getting done, compliance is always, I'm always making sure that compliance is there, always sending things. For example, a CDA comes across and that's the most important part of their transaction is what they're getting paid. I'll always send it and let them look, is this okay? The settlement statement, is this okay? Before I share it with anyone else, I always think that that first level of communication with the agent is really, really important, just to make sure both of our eyes are on it and that, before we both look stupid, that we're on the same page about things, because that's one of the last things that I want is for anyone to look stupid or like they're not doing their job effectively.
And I'm a big nerd, and you and I nerd out together, right? Like
Yes.
friends. I want to ask you about that in a second, but you, if I hearing all that, I'm thinking, man, if I'm talking to Laney, on the one hand, I'm excited to know that you're copying me on everything. On the other hand, I love a clean inbox, and so my recommendation, if listening, and what do? I would set up an email filter, and I feel like I'm one of the best at email filters. I would set up an email filter that says if you email me and somebody else is copied on it, I'm going to put that into a folder because or if I'm CC'd on it and somebody else is on it, I'm probably not going to worry about it. Right now,
Mhm.
if you want that directly to me, or if there's one on there, I want that in my inbox because you're probably telling me I need to do something or something needs
Mhm.
there's an update. So I think that's one part of keeping a clean inbox and keep staying organized from our side. Now what I'm going to ask you and put the qualifier on this question, or put the qualifier in your answer. We nerd out the CRM. You mentioned that you did that little stint at the marketing side for a number of years. I shouldn't say little stint. You did a good stint at a marketing company. We talked CRMs. What do you use? I'm just professionally curious right now, and it's subject to change because obviously technology and
Yes.
but what do you use on the back end to make sure you stay organized? Like how do you do, get all these files coming in? How do you keep the Smiths straight from the Joneses, from the Garcias to whatever? Like what do you use currently?
Actually, I use whatever the agent uses. So I generally use all of their logins, and use whatever CRM and whatever platforms that they use. So I know EXP, Real, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, Monument, you name the brokerage, and I know the back end and then the systems that those agents use. So no agent has to, change anything up or say like, I have to use this because Laney uses this. I will learn or already know the systems that they already have in place. So they don't even have to change any of that. It's just,
So that's how, so that, earlier we talked about how you're sending emails, copying them. The reality is it's in their ecosystem and they can just check. They can just
yes.
get whatever they're using for tracking their CRM and their process. They're gonna see it just because you're in there doing it for them. That is
Mhm.
blowing. All right, new question, because I hear that. So to me, that has to be different. I assume that's got to be one of the big differentiators between what you do and probably your typical transaction coordinator, right?
Mhm.
Look, to be good at mortgages, we have to do what we say we're going to do. We have to close on time. We got to be fast. We got to do all like that's just like the name of the game.
Mhm.
You or not the name of the game, but that's the price just for entry, right? That's
Sure.
actually good at your job. You execute, you keep good notes, you make sure deadlines are hit. That's the fundamental here. What I just heard is the big differentiator. You work inside their ecosystem. What
Mhm.
else do you feel like is a value add that Laney offers that's not under your typical air quotes, your typical TC transaction coordinator? What do you do to think that you think is a little different or above and beyond? I know
Um,
you think that it's always hard to bring that little thing out, but just
yeah, it is. One thing that I really, really strive is to also, okay, so let's say here's the difference between me as Laney and then an agent that's more of a sales driven type of personality. I love building relationships, but I love for you to hand me the relationships to build. I don't like to just go out and build those relationships on my own. I'm an introvert in that way. I love to build relationships with their clients, making sure that their clients are taken care of, that I'm always available, whether that's text or email. I'm in front of my computer all day long. So that's really something that I just really strive to do, is just to be available when anyone is needed, and just kind of take that away from the agent so that they don't have to worry about the quick text or the email that needs to be followed up on. Again, full transparency, let the agent still be involved in everything. I don't want to take their client away. It is their client and that is their deal, but just alleviate all of that stress that they have.
yeah, I think the way I tell my team, and I've my team well, right? We've been together for a long time. There's service, not sales.
Mhm.
Right? Like a service person is caring, nurturing, kind,
Yes.
not scared to pick up the phone call, loves helping people, good
Mhm.
and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, they're not the ones that go form the relationship, which is the sales piece. And that's again, that is what you're so good at. And that's where I feel like your skill set is so good because the 80% of you is the back end organized stuff, but you still got that 20% that makes you, really good at that extra piece where you're not just hiding behind the screen and hiding behind email. You go pick up the phone, whoever's needed, whether it's the agent or the client. Um, what about, as far as, and we're not going to quote price because again, if someone's watching this 3 years from now, things change, right? Times change,
Yeah.
job duties change. But in general, is it a one price fits all, or do you offer different levels of service? Because I know with your, like, I'm a little surprised, to be quite honest, that you're not doing more of the marketing or offering the marketing in the front end. Maybe you do, and I just don't, I didn't hear that. But what services? So the transaction coordinating from contract to close,
Mhm.
and that's a transaction piece. Are there different levels in that, or is it, hey, here's what it is, one size fits all? Is there a volume play? Is it a, hey, Laney, I need help with marketing? Like,
Sometimes,
that's a broad
yes,
question, but fill me in where to go from there.
yes, all of that. Yes, all of that. Contract to close is the main service that I offer. I also offer a listing service, which has to do with creating the listing agreement, any other office documents that are required for specific brokerages, um, introducing myself to your client, meeting the photographer at the house for photos, taking room measurements, notes, inputting that into MLS, sending the MLS proof to the clients, making sure that it looks how they would like for it to look, that there's not any edits that they need to do, that I need to do, literally all of the things.
That seems amazing. Like that alone almost seems just as valuable, if not more so, than just the contract stuff. Because I know how much work goes into that. That's incredible.
Yes,
So we got
yes.
the listing side, we got the contract to close side.
And then,
What that do you dabble in out there? Because I know you're good at
yeah,
where do you
there,
focus?
yeah, there are also a lot of people that will be out showing, 10 homes, and, they call me and, hey, we really, really need to get an offer written on this one house. They, not currently in this state of the market, but, we have multiple offers going on, or we need help with this or that. I can prepare an offer, help prepare amendments, literally anything that takes place in a transaction, whether it be the listing side or the buy side. We can a la carte kind of pull them out and just charge accordingly if you need help, like in a rush or something on the, just literally anything that they need, I can help with. We can piece things apart. We can do whole packages, whatever works for their business.
Right? So, because again, you're talking, what you just described is both the listing side, a little bit of marketing side, a little bit of, the transaction to close side. So, I mean, the reality is because again, I don't know how many, I don't want to add on the date yet. It's been a long time that we've known each other, and I'm 20 something years in business, and we've known each other most of that time. So I know you've done a lot, but I mean, I guess the real answer is what I think part of what makes you so valuable, aside from just your, right? And the reason why we're doing this video is because I have and will continue to endorse you. So if you're watching this, you don't know Laney, and even if you don't know me, again, we work with thousands in my career, thousands of people, and you were top, right? So it's one of those things, and not everybody has a transaction coordinator, just to be very clear. But at the end of the day, like, you were top notch, and I want to make sure, because anytime you're involved, my life is made easier as a lender, right? Because you and I work well together, and we're both organized. And but you really can start, from cradle to grave, or whatever you want to call it, like help getting leads and getting organized from a CRM standpoint or a marketing standpoint. Again, your 6-year stint at the marketing department or marketing company helped and obviously you've been in the real estate industry for so long, the real estate side. Just the nerd that you are, and I'm going to say that with a compliment, because you are the tech side, the CRM organization, the database. Like, it really is just something that you are incredible. So I just want to say that. What, like, I don't say parting thoughts, right? Because I'm not saying there's no hard stop on this thing, but just knowing we kind of hit enough to get people interested to call you. How does somebody reach out to you? Like, what's the best way to find you? And obviously that may change, and we'll put it wherever this ends up in the world. We'll make sure that you got the updated contact information. But what's the best way to find you if they want to go out and get your information?
That's a good question. I just work mostly out of email or text. I don't have, a website or anything like that.
But so I will make sure, again, if wherever you're watching this, we'll make sure that information shows up there to be good.
Yes.
Because honestly, I'm thinking, man, if I'm an agent, like, I'd be silly not to have you in my corner. And truthfully, as the guy that is trying to take over the world, right, the mortgage world at least, we're still 20 years in, and we're still working on it. We're not close, but we're getting there, right? Baby steps. But somebody that wants to take over the world in real estate, I'm like, dang, I would do everything in my power to communicate with you to make sure that my ultimate goal someday would be have you full time. And I know that's not the case, right? Because I know you enjoy working with other folks, but certainly that's out there. But what would be the parting thoughts? If somebody's out there thinking, man, I need, whether I should use Laney or the in-house offering, because a lot of companies have somebody that sits in the office and do this, what would be your message to them as far as, like, the time and why you versus somebody else? So that, the last minute sales pitch, what is the first 30 seconds? I know you kind of gave one, but what do you think is really the big deal, or what do you like to see, or what growth have you seen from people using you?
I would love to get you those solid numbers, honestly. I do know just from communication and speaking with people that every person that I've worked with, their business has grown dramatically just because they just have more time. I think kind of a key slogan, if you will, could be something along the lines of offload your chaos. And let's see, let me think.
I like the offload your chaos.
Offload your chaos and close with confidence. Because the company is called Transactions with Confidence. So I think that would be a good slogan.
I think that's amazing. I really do. Close with confidence is phenomenal. I
Yes.
love that, and I think offload your chaos is a great tagline, and I truly believe that. If you're watching this, and especially now, if we're, I don't know how many minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it's been. If you're even thinking about it, do it. Like, you will come to it. You either get more time in your personal life if that's your goal, or you will have more time to do more. And
Yes.
every once in a while, people are like, oh, the cost. I don't care what you cost. If you're the most expensive one out there, I hope you are. Again, I'm not here to tell you what to do or how to run your business. But I would absolutely believe that you are worth the premium out there. whatever it is in this day and age. But the reality is, if you're even thinking about it, like, I can't recommend you enough.
Mhm.
And it's just one of those things. I just think you're marvelous. I think more realtors need to use you, and even more need to use anybody. But I think if you're going to use somebody, they must at least talk to you and see if they're a personality fit for you.
Oh, for sure. For
Miss
sure.
Laney, you're amazing.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. And again, we'll put your information somewhere around here to make sure they can get a hold of you. You know, mortgagemark.com is up. So if you want to get out, if you can't find Laney, just reach out to me and I'll make sure you get her information. But I appreciate everybody. And Miss Laney, I'll be a fan.
Perfect. Thank
All right.
you.